step out of the vehicle. Keep your hands visible.
What's going on? Did I do something wrong?
This car's registered to a dealership. When did you say you bought it?
Yesterday. I have all the paperwork right here in my purse.
Don't reach for anything. I need you to get out of the car now. You're under arrest for vehicle theft.
The dash cam footage would capture every word of what happened next. Jasmine Caldwell sat in the driver's seat of her brand new BMW, wearing her business suit from a client meeting. Officer Derek Foster was about to treat her like a car thief because the temporary tags on her 48-hour-old vehicle triggered an alert in his system. What this officer didn't know was that Jasmine was a senior management consultant who just closed a deal worth $2 million for her firm. She'd paid cash for this car, $62,000. She had the bill of sale, the temporary registration, and the dealer's contact information. And in about 30 minutes, this stop would end Derek's career and cost Phoenix nearly $600,000. If you've ever been accused of stealing something you actually own, drop a comment and subscribe, because what happens next is absolutely insane. Jasmine Caldwell was 36 years old and had worked in corporate consulting for 13 years. She grew up in West Phoenix, daughter of Jamaican immigrants. Her father was a mechanic. Her mother was a teacher. They taught her that hard work pays off and that she should never settle for less than she deserved. Jasmine took that seriously. She graduated from Phoenix Union High School with honors, got her business degree from Arizona State University at 22, started at a small consulting firm doing market analysis. She was brilliant at her job. She could see patterns others missed. She understood business strategy intuitively. She worked 80-hour weeks, nights, weekends, holidays. She climbed from analyst to senior consultant to partner track. For 13 years, Jasmine drove a beat-up Honda Civic with 200,000 miles on it. She didn't care that it was old. It ran. It got her to client meetings. But after 13 years of watching that Civic slowly die, she decided it was time. She'd saved 40% of every paycheck for 8 years. She had $70,000 in her account. She wanted something nice, something that showed all those years of hard work meant something. She'd been eyeing BMWs for months, finally found the perfect one at a dealership in Scottsdale, a BMW 5 Series in metallic blue, leather interior, every feature, $62,000. She walked into that dealership on Tuesday morning after an early client meeting. She was in a business suit. The salespeople looked at her skeptically, a black woman wanting to look at luxury cars. The first salesman tried to steer her toward used cars. The second asked if she needed financing. The third finally listened when she said she was paying cash. She test drove the BMW, fell in love immediately. Smooth, powerful, luxurious, everything she'd dreamed of. She said she'd take it. The salesman looked surprised. Right now, cash. The dealership scrambled. They ran her credit anyway, despite her saying cash. It came back perfect, 800 credit score. They processed the payment. $62,000 transferred from her account to theirs. The paperwork took hours. Arizona requires permanent plates to be mailed from the motor vehicle division, which takes 7 to 10 business days. In the meantime, buyers get temporary registration, a paper document showing the vehicle is legally registered to you for 45 days while permanent plates are processed. Jasmine received her temporary registration, a single sheet of paper with her name, the VIN number, and an expiration date 45 days away. The dealership placed a temporary tag in the rear window showing the expiration date. This is completely legal and standard procedure in Arizona. Every single new car purchase involves temporary registration for at least a week. Jasmine drove off that lot at 6 p.m. Tuesday evening. She was thrilled. Her first luxury car, earned through 13 years of grueling work in corporate consulting. She drove home carefully, parked in her assigned spot at her apartment complex, went inside and celebrated with a glass of wine. Wednesday, she had back-to-back client meetings, a major presentation for a healthcare company. She spent 14 hours preparing slides, analyzing data, rehearsing her pitch. The presentation went perfectly. The client signed a 2-year contract worth $2 million to her firm. Thursday morning, she had a breakfast meeting with another potential client, a tech startup looking for strategic guidance. The meeting went well. She left confident they'd sign by next week. By 10 a.m. Thursday, she was driving to her office downtown, still riding the high from yesterday's successful presentation. Still got a thrill every time she saw her new BMW in the parking lot. She drove through Phoenix morning traffic. It was 10:15 a.m. She was going exactly the speed limit. Hadn't run any lights, hadn't done anything wrong. 3 miles from her office, she saw lights flashing behind her. Police. Her stomach dropped. She couldn't think of any violation she'd committed. She pulled over into a gas station parking lot, put the car in park, rolled down her window, placed both hands on the steering wheel where they'd be visible. Officer Derek Foster was 28 years old, 5 years with Phoenix Police, white, average build, with the confident swagger of someone who thought he knew everything. He considered himself a good cop, made solid arrests, followed his instincts, kept the streets clean. What Derek didn't recognize was his own assumptions, the way certain people in certain cars looked wrong to him, the way his brain automatically flagged certain combinations as suspicious. Black woman, expensive car, must be something wrong. Derek grew up in North Scottsdale, wealthy family, private schools, every advantage. He joined the police force because his father pushed him toward a real job instead of partying through his 20s. Derek thought police work would be exciting. In 5 years on the force, Derek had made 342 vehicle stops. 73% involved Black or Hispanic drivers, in a city where those populations combined made up 42% of residents. Derek would have said he stopped suspicious vehicles. He never examined what made a vehicle suspicious to him. Derek had run Jasmine's plates while driving behind her. The system showed the vehicle was still registered to the dealership. It flagged as a potential stolen vehicle because the permanent registration hadn't processed yet. Derek didn't think about temporary registration, didn't consider that people buy cars every day and drive them legally on temporary tags. He saw Black woman, expensive BMW, registered to a dealership. His brain said, stolen. He pulled her over without checking further, without calling the dealership, without considering any alternative explanation. Derek approached the driver's side window, saw Jasmine in a business suit, hands on the wheel, saw the temporary tag in the rear window but didn't process what it meant. Ma'am, step out of the vehicle. Keep your hands visible. Jasmine's confidence evaporated instantly, replaced by fear and confusion. What's going on? Did I do something wrong? This car's registered to a dealership. When did you say you bought it? Yesterday. I have all the paperwork right here in my purse. Don't reach for anything. I need you to get out of the car now. You're under arrest for vehicle theft. Wait, what? Jasmine's voice rose. I have the paperwork. I have the bill of sale. I paid cash for this car. Step out of the vehicle now. Jasmine's business training kicked in. Stay calm. Don't escalate. Comply. Sort it out later. She opened the door slowly, stepped out carefully. Derek immediately grabbed her arm and pulled it behind her back. The handcuff clicked around her wrist. This is my car, Jasmine said, trying to keep her voice steady. I have all the paperwork inside, in my purse. Please just look at it. Derek clicked the second handcuff. You'll have a chance to explain at the station. A man's voice called out from the gas station. Hey, what's going on? Derek turned. An older white man was walking toward them from the gas station. Sir, stay back. This is police business. The man kept coming. I was pumping gas. I watched you pull her over. What did she do? This vehicle is reported stolen. The man looked at Jasmine, looked at the BMW, looked back at Derek. Did you even check her paperwork? Did you ask to see her registration? She's being detained. I'll check everything at the station. That's not how this works, the man said. His voice was calm but firm. You can't arrest someone for a stolen vehicle without verifying it's actually stolen. Check her paperwork. It takes 2 minutes. Derek felt his authority being challenged. Sir, if you don't step back, I'll detain you for obstruction. The man held up his phone. I'm recording this. You've got a woman in a business suit in handcuffs. You haven't checked her paperwork. You haven't called the dealership. You're arresting her based on what? A computer system that probably just shows temporary registration? Derek realized people were watching now. 3 other customers at the gas station had their phones out. The scene was being recorded from multiple angles. Fine, Derek said. He walked to the BMW and looked inside. Saw Jasmine's purse on the passenger seat. He retrieved it without asking permission. He pulled out her wallet, found her driver's license, Jasmine Caldwell, address matched. He found a folder of paperwork, pulled it out. Inside was the bill of sale, vehicle, BMW 5 Series, VIN number matching the car, price, $62,000, payment method, cash, buyer, Jasmine Caldwell, date Tuesday 2 days ago. There was the temporary registration, valid for 45 days. Jasmine Caldwell listed as registered owner. Expiration date 43 days from now. There was the dealer's business card with a handwritten note. Congrats on your new car. Permanent plates will arrive in 7 to 10 days. Call me if you have any questions. There was even her business card. Jasmine Caldwell, senior management consultant, Morrison Strategic Group. Derek stood there holding the paperwork. The evidence was irrefutable. This was her car, legally purchased, properly registered with temporary tags. Nothing stolen about it. but Derek had already arrested her. He had handcuffs on her. Multiple people were recording. Backing down now would be embarrassing. He walked back to Jasmine. This paperwork needs to be verified. It's right there, Jasmine said. Everything you need is right there. Bill of sale, temporary registration, the dealer's contact information, my business card showing who I am. Call the dealership right now and verify it. I'll verify it at the station. The man with the phone spoke up again. Officer, you have clear documentation that she owns this car. You have no legal basis to continue detaining her. Derek turned on him. I told you to stay back, and I told you I'm recording. You're violating her rights. She's provided documentation. You're arresting her anyway. Why? Derek didn't answer because he didn't have a good answer. The truth was uncomfortable. He'd seen a black woman in an expensive car and assumed theft. Now he couldn't admit his mistake without looking foolish. Have you ever watched someone dig themselves deeper because they can't admit they were wrong? Comment below. Jasmine spoke up, her voice shaking now with anger, not fear. Officer, I'm a senior consultant. I work for Morrison Strategic Group. I just closed a $2 million deal yesterday. I paid cash for this car 2 days ago. I have done nothing wrong, and you have me in handcuffs in front of all these people. Why? Derek called for backup into his radio. Need assistance at the Shell station on Thomas Road. Jasmine closed her eyes. This was spiraling. She knew how these situations could end. She'd read enough news stories, seen enough videos. Within 5 minutes, 2 more patrol cars arrived, 4 officers total. Derek explained the situation to the others, making it sound like Jasmine was being difficult, refusing to cooperate, creating a scene. One of the new officers, a sergeant named Michael Torres, walked over to look at the paperwork Derek was holding. He read through it carefully. Michael had 20 years on the force. He'd seen everything. He knew what temporary registration looked like. He also knew what racial profiling looked like. Derek, this is temporary registration, completely legal. She bought the car 2 days ago. Everything checks out. I still need to verify it, Derek insisted. Michael looked at Jasmine standing there in handcuffs, looked at the people recording on their phones, looked back at Derek. Remove the handcuffs, Michael said quietly. Sarge, I really think, remove the handcuffs. Now, that's an order. Derek reluctantly removed the handcuffs. Jasmine rubbed her wrists where the metal had bitten into her skin. Michael turned to Jasmine. Ma'am, I apologize. You're free to go. You've committed no violation. This stop should not have happened. Jasmine looked at Derek. I want his badge number. I want his supervisor's name. I want to file a formal complaint. Derek's face flushed. Ma'am, this was just a routine traffic stop. No, Jasmine said, her voice still now. This was racial profiling. You saw a black woman in a nice car and assumed I stole it. You didn't check my paperwork. You didn't call the dealership. You didn't verify anything. You just assumed. And now I've been humiliated in public, handcuffed in front of strangers, treated like a criminal for driving my own car that I worked 13 years to afford. Michael handed her his card. Ma'am, I encourage you to file that complaint. This was handled improperly. If you need any assistance with the complaint process, contact me directly. Jasmine took the card. She looked at Derek. You should have just asked to see my paperwork. That's all you had to do. Just ask. Instead, you made assumptions, and those assumptions were based on what I look like. That's racism, plain and simple. Derek started to protest, but Michael held up a hand. Officer Foster, return to your vehicle. I'll speak with you separately. Jasmine got back into her BMW. Her hands were shaking. She sat there for a moment, trying to compose herself before driving. The man who'd first challenged Derek approached her window. Ma'am, I sent you the video I recorded. I got your license plate, looked up your company, and found your email on the website. Figured you might need it. Jasmine looked at him, surprised. Thank you. I don't even know your name. Robert Chen. I'm an attorney here in Phoenix. Real estate law. I've been watching this kind of thing happen for too long. I'm glad I could help. Jasmine thanked him again. She drove to her office in a daze, sat at her desk staring at the wall. She'd worked so hard for that car, saved for years, finally bought something nice for herself. And the first full day she owned it, she got arrested. She called her father, told him everything. He listened, then said, file the complaint, get a lawyer. This isn't right. That afternoon, Jasmine contacted a civil rights attorney named Patricia Williams. Patricia specialized in racial profiling cases. She listened to Jasmine's story, watched the videos from the witnesses, reviewed the paperwork. This is a clear case of racial profiling and unlawful detention. You had valid registration. You provided documentation. He arrested you anyway. And you have multiple witnesses who recorded everything. This is strong. Within 48 hours, the formal complaint was filed. The videos went viral. Consultant arrested for driving her own new car became a national story. The footage showed Derek pulling her over, immediately arresting her, refusing to check her paperwork, ignoring the witness who challenged him. The response was massive. Business professionals across the country shared their own stories of being profiled. Black executives, consultants, entrepreneurs rallied around Jasmine. The hashtag "professionals deserve better" trended for 3 days. Phoenix police had no choice but to investigate. Internal Affairs opened a case within a week. They interviewed Derek for 6 hours across 3 sessions. The interviews were brutal. Why did you pull over Miss Caldwell? The vehicle came back as registered to a dealership, possible stolen vehicle. Did you see the temporary registration tag in the rear window? Yes. Do you know what temporary registration is? Yes. Did you consider that she might have just purchased the vehicle? I thought she might be claiming that as an excuse. On what basis? She seemed nervous. She was nervous because you were arresting her. Did you check her paperwork before arresting her? No. Why not? I wanted to verify everything at the station. You arrested her without verifying whether the vehicle was actually stolen? I had probable cause based on the registration showing the dealership. Temporary registration showing a dealership is not probable cause. It's standard procedure after a purchase. Did you call the dealership to verify? No. Why not? Derek couldn't explain. Because the truth was, he'd made an assumption based on race and acted on it without investigation. Investigators pulled Derek's history: 5 years on the force, 342 vehicle stops, 250 involved Black or Hispanic drivers. Of those, 93 resulted in searches. Only 11 searches found any contraband. Derek's pattern was clear and damning. He stopped people of color at nearly twice their population rate. He searched them frequently. He rarely found evidence of actual crimes. 19 complaints filed against him over 5 years. 14 alleging racial profiling, all marked unsubstantiated. Nobody had connected the dots until now. The investigation took 3 weeks. Findings were released publicly. Officer Derek Foster conducted an unlawful traffic stop of Jasmine Caldwell without reasonable suspicion of any violation. Officer Foster observed temporary registration but failed to understand its legal significance. Officer Foster arrested Ms. Caldwell for driving a stolen vehicle without verifying the vehicle was stolen. Officer Foster refused to examine documentation proving ownership before making an arrest. Officer Foster demonstrated implicit racial bias in his assessment that a Black woman driving a luxury vehicle must be involved in criminal activity. Officer Foster has a documented pattern of disproportionate stops and searches of people of color throughout his career. Recommendation was immediate termination. Phoenix Police Chief accepted the recommendation. Derek Foster was fired 23 days after he arrested Jasmine for driving her own car. The civil rights lawsuit moved forward. Patricia Williams filed a comprehensive complaint, 4th Amendment violation for unlawful stop and arrest, 14th Amendment violation for racial discrimination, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress against the city, failure to train and supervise officers regarding temporary registration and racial profiling. The city's attorneys watched the videos, read the internal affairs report, reviewed Derek's history. They calculated potential jury verdict, a successful business consultant, brand new car she'd saved for years to buy, clear documentation, multiple videos from witnesses, pattern of racial profiling. Settlement offer came within 6 weeks, $450,000. Jasmine countered with $750,000. They settled at $590,000. But Jasmine wanted more than money. She wanted change. Final settlement included mandatory reforms, all Phoenix police officers complete 100 hours training on lawful stops, and temporary registration procedures. Specific training module on implicit bias in vehicle stops. Implementation of early warning system flagging officers with problematic stop patterns. Monthly public reporting of stop data by race, vehicle type, and outcome. Policy requiring officers to verify stolen vehicle claims before making arrests. Dashboard notification system explaining temporary registration when plates are run. Jasmine also negotiated something unique. She wanted to be part of training at the academy. The city agreed. For the next year, Jasmine visited the police academy quarterly to speak to new recruits. She told her story. She explained what it felt like to be profiled. She showed the videos. She made them understand the human cost of assumptions. Some recruits were defensive. Some claimed she was exaggerating, but most understood the lesson. Assumptions based on appearance aren't policing. their prejudice. The case became a teaching tool for police departments nationwide. Traffic stop training across the country started including Jasmine's case as an example of what not to do. The National Black MBA Association featured Jasmine's story in their advocacy work on workplace dignity and racial justice. Business organizations used her case to highlight broader issues of racial profiling of professionals. Jasmine continued working as a senior consultant. She still drives her BMW, still loves that car, still remembers what it represents, years of hard work, sacrifice, and achievement. But she also remembers that morning, standing in handcuffs, being treated like a criminal, having to prove she owns something she'd worked years to afford. She uses that memory, shares it, teaches with it, makes sure Derek's mistake becomes a lesson for others. Derek Foster left Phoenix after his termination. He moved to a small town in Nevada and got a job in private security. He told people he was fired because of politics. He claimed the department threw him under the bus to appease activists. He never acknowledged that he'd racially profiled Jasmine, never admitted his assumptions were wrong, never apologized. He tried getting hired by other police departments in Nevada and Arizona. None would hire him. His termination for racial profiling made him unemployable in law enforcement. He works security at a warehouse now, still bitter, still convinced he did nothing wrong. Robert Chen, the attorney who filmed the encounter, became an advocate for accountability. He trains other professionals on being effective witnesses. He speaks at community meetings about the responsibility to document and report injustice. Sergeant Michael Torres became a trainer at the academy, working directly with Jasmine on the implicit bias curriculum. He credits her case with forcing the department to confront uncomfortable truths about their practices. 3 years after the incident, Phoenix police vehicle stops of black drivers decreased by 34%. Searches during stops decreased by 41%. Complaints of racial profiling down by 52%. The dashboard notification system, flagging temporary registration, has prevented an estimated 300 wrongful stops in 3 years. Jasmine used part of her settlement to establish a scholarship fund for business students of color. 20 students have received full tuition scholarships so far. This story matters because it exposes a truth many people don't want to face. Achievement doesn't protect you from racism. Jasmine Caldwell had everything our society says matters. She was a successful consultant closing major deals. She'd saved for years. She'd earned that car through legitimate hard work. And she was still arrested for the crime of being black while successful. Derek Foster saw a black woman in a luxury car and his brain immediately jumped to theft. Never considered she might have earned it. Never thought to simply ask for documentation. Never questioned his own assumptions. He was wrong. That wrongness cost him his career and the city nearly $600,000. But more importantly, it cost him the chance to be a good officer. A good officer would have checked the temporary registration, would have called the dealership, would have asked to see paperwork before making an arrest, would have treated her with basic respect. Derek chose assumptions over investigation, prejudice over procedure, pride over admitting error. Jasmine chose to fight back, document everything, demand justice, turn her humiliation into systematic change. 3 years later, hundreds of Phoenix officers have better training. The system flags temporary registration to prevent wrongful stops. Data is tracked and reviewed. And Derek's mistake became a lesson that protects others. That's the power of one person refusing to accept injustice. One arrest, one lawsuit, one demand for accountability. Derek thought he knew what criminal looked like, thought expensive cars and black faces didn't belong together, thought his assumptions were good policing. He was wrong about everything. Jasmine still drives that BMW, still parks it at work, still goes to client meetings and closes deals. And if anyone ever questions whether she belongs in that car, she has a $600,000 settlement that says she does. Thanks for watching all the way through. If this story changed how you think about racial profiling and assumptions, hit that subscribe button. I share more stories about people who fight back and win. Drop a comment. Have you ever been treated like you didn't belong somewhere you absolutely had the right to be? I want to hear your stories. See you in the next one.